for all his remorse. Oceans you fill for yourself alone. Flores Samson that now dethroned. So pity your river, not a drop for him. Your high ground's a shadowy west end. Samson, not back with your selfish woes. No room for the tears, only you.
Welcome, everyone. We are here for what we're always here for, Sarah Boone with an emotional support beverage, because that is the only way we should deal with Sarah Boone. Thank you, Wolfram, for doing all of the Modly Mod stuff. Welcome, Janie J and DK Cripple. Welcome, everyone who's lurking. We are going to get right into this hearing. I know that it's about lawyer costs and things like that, but it is good to try to figure out how much Sarah Boone has cost the Florida taxpayers, and maybe we can get some of that money back. I am getting one of those rollator walkers, so if she could possibly make me a license plate that says, like, well, Sailor Mo or something like that, I would be awesome. Sarah, help a chick out when you get to the prison, not the jail. That's Anywho, let's get on to this and hear everyone talk about how they had to deal with Sarah and how they are dealing with their, maladaptive coping mechanisms, whatever they may be. Wait, who is this judge? This is not Eyebrows of Justice. I feel lied to. Thank you. I am working on upping my thumbnail game, sort of, in theory. I'm working on it.
It'll take me a moment to get everything cranked up. Somebody's been adjusting things.
So DK Cripple, from what I know, I think this is all of her previous lawyers from, all of these different, all of their previous lawyers, her public defenders that escaped. I believe they're suing or asking to get paid. Uh, I can only hope that the state of Florida also gives them like a muffin basket or maybe like a free Girl Scout cookie, because I can only imagine. I mean, you would need a lot of Samoas to get me to represent Sarah Boone, but I can be bought, state of Florida. I'm just saying. What in the reverb is this? This is not an 80s hair band. I don't want reverb. Oh, those pearls are going to get in the way, man. Oh, just seeing her robe makes me want to do one of these things because I hate having things around my neck. It's the worst part of playing anti-bev. Okay, also, cameraman, could we possibly center her up? This is hurting my ADHD or my OCD brain. It's actually not bad. And, unlike Bev, she's understood the value of purple shampoo and conditioner.
Sorry, I got to log out of WebEx and log into a different account.
I thought she was going to say, sorry, I'm on Animal Farm, or what is it, Farmville. I'll be right back. I've just got to, harvest these carrots for a friend. This is also reason number 60 billion I couldn't be a lawyer. Holy God, the amount of wasted time. Welcome, Alice G. I was having a bit of a meltdown. I found the perfect Halloween costume, but then they wanted $30 to ship it. So now I'm fighting with myself. Because frugal me is like, I can make that my own self. Time management me is saying, you don't have a lot of time. Do you really want to embark on a sewing project? The answer is no.
Room.
Welcome, Brenda. Holy. That's probably holy giblets. No, Wolfram, the costume was actually about 60. And then I thought I could hear my
Hi, everyone.
Holy God. But then I heard the spirit of my grandmother who lived through the Depression saying, you're going to spend $100 on a Halloween costume? I saved foil from 1960. So, in addition to guilt, I'm also haunted by the frugal spirit of my grandmother. Oh, yeah, believe me, I'm this close to just pulling, just pushing the buy cart and just dealing with it. Welcome, Roxanne. Holy Fazoli. Hopefully this audio helps, because what in the white snake is this?
Hold on.
Ooh, we're going to make a music video. Actual footage of Mo looking at her computer when it's doing something she doesn't understand. This is actual footage of me. I'm like, okay, we're going to try to unplug this. I'm going to shake it a little bit, and then we're going to try it again. No, it did not.
I am muted.
Oh my gosh, she's doing the thing where we talk to ourselves to figure out what the computer stuff is. I love it. I feel seen.
Can you hear me? They cannot. Can you hear me?
What's wrong? Your Honor, is an echo?
All right, let me figure out what's going on. It's already muted.
She's like, where the hell is IT Goatee Boy? Bring him in here. Yeah, observation station. Someone was telling me that glue can be used kind of like cement, or cheese can be used like cement or glue. I don't know. I have never had to use, felon ingenuity. So I don't know. If I ever do happen to trade, my favorite colors for orange, I will let you all know what one does with cheese slices. I like her pearls. Her robe just makes me want to do one of these things. I hate having things like tightly around my neck, so I don't understand the juxtaposition of a really tight robe and then really loose pearls, but you do you, ma'am.
Muted. It is indeed.
Someone find, the IT person, the one IT person that's probably hiding in a closet somewhere, avoiding helping anyone.
Now it's on.
This is already the best Sarah Boone hearing I've ever seen.
Judge, if I'm hearing there's a big echo from your part here. getting the same effect over here.
The judge is like, no shit, Sherlock. I think I figured out that there's an echo. But thank you for thank you for helping me. Thanks, Alice. I get 1 or 2 really good hair days a week, and I capitalize on them. Howdy, Flux. Well, right now the judge is giving us a little concert because she's echoing and she can't figure out her audio. Howdy, howdy, Flux, my kiddo. I think I've adopted half of the internet. This poor judge is like, how the hell do I control alt delete? Control alt delete. Someone gets someone in here who graduated before or after 2014. I need a help. Check out Flux's channel. She does painting and
Testing.
Minecraft.
Can you hear
which
me?
I don't. Oh,
Yes,
yeah, I
Ron,
figured
that's
it out.
better. Yeah, get on it.
All right.
Yes.
Yes.
Figured out the problem.
Woo-hoo.
Okay, we are here first on 2019 CS 762.
If you do not have your emotional support beverages, I will be drinking one because this hearing is about all the lawyers past who have escaped Sarah Boone and now they would like to be paid. So I am drinking a drink for them to help them for their, escape.
26, State of Florida versus Shamik Anderson. If I could have JAC identify himself for the record. please.
Shamik Anderson.
Yes, Your Honor. Christian Lake, Assistant General Counsel with the JAC.
Thank you. And who is
That
here
would
on
be too
behalf
easy.
or seeking attorney's fees on that case?
Me, Judge George, Attorney George Chico.
All right, and can,
Use a
Mr.
microphone.
Lake, can you hear him?
He's very faint, Your Honor.
All right, if you could just talk into the microphone, that would be helpful.
Certainly.
Feel free to stay seated if
Thank
you'd
you,
like.
ma'am.
Y'all, why is it so hard? I'm a YouTuber. Microphone in front of me. Microphone does no help if it's all the way back here. Do they not have a class about this in lawyer school? I feel like they should. Although I do, now that I'm defluffersizing, if you will, I didn't think I was a vain person, but now I want a mic overhead so it's not covering up my chest area, which rack of justice. I have a trademark. I'm just kidding. The things you never think you would be vain about.
We are here on your motion for attorney's fees, Mr. Jabot, so you may proceed.
Judge, I did a attempted murder trial back in 2022. It was really lengthy. I had the case from April of 2021 until November of 2022. In that time, I did 46 depositions, had them all transcribed. I did a 4-day trial, 4-day attempted murder trial. It's a very complex and complicated case, Judge.
Welcome.
I'm just asking for fair compensation for my work. I had billed for $20,430. JAC objected to $8,632.5 of that, which leaves $11,797.50. Judge, I'm not going to fight them on anything that they objected.
Okay, the closed captions does math about as well as I do. If I'm not sitting down writing the numbers right then, those numbers will jump around and I have to have people write down their phone number. It's really hard for Shelby or Shelba. Look, I am sorry if I have butchered your name. I don't attempt to. I graduated before No Child Left Behind, and my mom wouldn't buy me, Mimsy, the, foreign language teacher, or Hooked on Phonics. Really, I was a poor, unloved child.
Objected to. If they're happy to pay me $11,797.50, I'm ready to take it. I don't have any fight left in me, Judge.
So you're requesting $11,797.50.
Yes, ma'am, that's the JAC adjusted amount that they say I'm owed.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Lake.
No, as Mr. Jabbar has indicated, with that amount, the only objection is the amount we accepted exceeds the flat fee. Beyond that, we defer to the court because we're familiar with the standards, so we believe it's court's discretion to determine whether it's a.
What in the Charlie Brown's teacher are we listening to here? This is awful. And I don't believe that this is not Sarah Boone people.
Permission to approach, Judge?
Yes. Thank you.
Well, now that is a goatee right there. They should have had him check the computer.
I have entered the order. I'll have my judicial assistant e-file it when I get back to the office.
Thank you, Judge. That's all I have. Make me excuse, ma'am.
Yes, thank you. Have a good day.
And you.
Just before we conclude this matter, I was the appointed attorney on behalf of Mr. Anderson prior to Mr. Jabot when his case was null pros, approximately 3 weeks before it was then refiled, and then Mr. Jabot was appointed. Ms. Rhiannon Arnold Rogers on behalf of the record.
Welcome, Stacy Smith.
Previously appointed Mr. Anderson. I think at some point the JAC also objected because of the flat fee that they had originally paid me when I billed. And so I was kind of noticed for the hearing in case you needed to hear about that. But just from the perspective of, I'm no longer on the conflict list.
Welcome, Cynthia Fire Fairy.
I guess wanted to make this point in case Your Honor ever has a chance to talk.
This hearing is for the former attorneys, public defenders that Sarah Boone has fired or quit. They have not yet been paid. I believe they have to go through JAC in order to get the hours and sort of the fee that they can get. So it seems a bit odd that public defenders would have to fight to get paid when they're assigned to someone. But I guess this is Florida's way of doing things. I don't know. Or it might be complicated because they never actually went to trial. I am not quite sure as far as the minutia of it, but this is where Sarah Boone's lawyers, in theory, being Mrs. Cashman and I believe Mr. Oh gosh, what was the one that she always yelled at? He was like 973 years old with a walker and he was on death's door, but she would constantly make fun of him. Gosh, let me look at this because I have the orders. Bankowitz. So Bankowitz and Winston Hobson and Patricia Cashman are all going to be appearing to try to get money for sort of representing Sarah. Now, I do think that the state of Florida should give them like a key lime pie too, and maybe some booze, but that would be my approach.
Start the case all over again based upon the state's decision. That's just, and I understand that the JAC's hands are tied because of how they're.
Okay. All right, here is where we go.
Mr. Lake, you're here on behalf of JAC.
I am, Your Honor.
All right, and Ms. Cashman, you're here on, as one of the attorneys on the case.
I am, Your Honor. I'm assuming that, like the last attorney, I will be permitted to stay seated because of the microphone issue. Thank you.
Although I do recognize you're probably like me, it's hard to argue while you're seated.
It's a very unnatural feel.
Who else is here on Ms. Boone's case?
No, I have not finished that. I can give you an update at the end of the hearing. I'm trying to get it done quickly because I want to either do Freddie Mercury or a paint by number or a diamond painting for Sarah Boone. So I'm trying to hustle my bustle on this last cross stitch because I don't like to have projects midway done. And it's actually kind of a good thing because with fall coming in and all of the rain, it is not a great day. It is not great leg time for me. So it's easier for me to sit down and cross stitch and try not to snack. Also try not to curse. I have learned that if I'm cross stitching on channel, I generally don't curse because I have my hands busy, and something about having not busy hands means I want to curse when Sarah Boone talks.
I'm back to what's on behalf of Mr. Boone, Judge. I believe I said in my motion, attorney number 7, but I think I was actually.
Ooh, I'm
attorney
famous. I'm a Mo attorney. God bless closed captioning.
I believe I said in my motion, attorney number 7, but I think I was actually attorney number 6 on the case. I've had the case the longest of the three of us that are appearing before the court now.
All right, thank you. And Mr. Hobson, you were court appointed to Ms. Boone at some point during her saga as well?
Yes, Your Honor.
What the judge really wanted to say was, you had to deal with this bitch too. Okay, who are all here for the thunder cow that's known as Sarah Boone? All right, we award you all the money and may God have mercy on her soul.
Mr. Bankowitz withdrew. I was appointed.
All right. So we have all
Poor
three
Mr.
of your bills,
Bankowitz.
and I know JAC had indicated they had no objection to Ms. Cashman's bill, but I did not get a similar statement with regard to Mr. Bankowitz or Mr. Hobson, so I thought I needed to have a hearing with all three of you present. I am, Mr. Lake?
I was just saying, there is an objection here because essentially what we're at this point is this is compensation in excess of the flat fee because there's 3 attorneys involved. So there's no line item objections per se because these are all flat fee bills, but we're basically objecting on the basis that the total compensation here is going to exceed the flat fee to some extent.
And I will tell you that I am very familiar with Ms. Boone's case because she has gone through many attorneys and has.
She's like, come on now. I know Sarah Boone's case because I have her attorneys in here every week wanting to get paid after they cash me outside. Oh. I don't think I could handle any more Bruce. He came into my stream one morning with Mo, and I didn't know who he was because y'all, honestly, if you want to know what I watch when I am not doing stream prep or stuff like that, it is Korean food factories and street food. I mean, I don't know that I could handle more Bruce because he came into my morning stream and he was like, "I'm Bruce. Do you know who I am?" And I was like, "Well, I'm guessing your name is Bruce." And he's like, "I represent Lynette." And I was like, "Oh, well, congratulations on that. This is my morning news show. What would you like?" And he just tried to get into the minutia of the case, and it was just really weird. That has been my only sort of thing with Bruce. And Squid brought the ban hammer down on him, which was helpful because I was like, I don't know who you are. I would never go up to someone and say, "Do you know who I am? I am a YouTuber." I mean, it just feels so pretentious and ridiculous. I would never do that. But Bruce apparently is his own special snowflake. And we'll see how that goes with him. Maybe he and Lynette are a perfect couple.
As according to Judge Kranick's order, sabotage those relationships. And accordingly, attorneys needed to withdraw and new attorneys were appointed. And I do recognize that a lot of work was done for Ms. Boone. So we will start with Mr. Bankowitz, then move to Mr. Hobson, and then to Ms. Cashman.
Thank you, Your Honor. Basically, I had the case for a little over a year. I had 175 hours in the case, including actually 45 hours at the jail with the defendant. When I received the case, I got a box of crazy information, I'll put it that way. And it was an entire file box.
He's like, this witch had crazy on her from the get-go. I tried to, leave the case. She kept finding me. She kept calling me at my house. I was recovering from surgery. I was on a walker, and this woman wouldn't let me go. I'd like to file charges for harassment.
It took weeks to go through it, categorize it, and kind of figure out what was going on in the case at that point in time. She originally had a privately retained attorney, and I basically received his case and his file because all of the other court-appointed attorneys before me, I believe, had waived any attorney's fees, and because they did basically nothing on the case. The three of us did a lot of work in the case. As I said, I put in 175 hours, and even at the $75 an hour compensation ratio, we're looking at $14,000. Spent a lot of time with Ms. Boone and a lot of time on the case. So I'm requesting a flat fee in this case.
All right, thank you. Mr. Hobson.
Good morning, Your Honor. Good morning, everyone. Your Honor, I got the case from Mr. Bankowitz, and I got the same information. The information Mr. Bankowitz just recited that he had and reviewed, and in addition, of course, his information on top of all of that. I spent some time with the defendant at the jail. I spent a tremendous amount of time with the investigator reviewing the case, talking about discovery, experts, and so forth. I spent a tremendous amount of time with a proposed expert, Dr. Linda DeRay, that it turns out the defendant didn't like her. I thought she'd be great. We talked for dozens of hours.
Huh. Well, that's a real surprise. Sarah Boone didn't like another person. Probably that expert was going to ask her if she took any responsibility for her own drinking. I can only imagine. And oh Lord, they talked for dozens of hours. Can you imagine having to do that with Sarah Boone for a flat fee of $75 an hour? I would turn to OnlyFeed. I really would.
Hours, almost daily, extensive periods of time, coming up with theory of defense or theories of defense.
Welcome, Wrestle Plunge.
In fact, you combine the information from the expert defense attorney that was privately involved and took the case to right up to the edge for trial, and then had to back out.
Howdy.
I have that information. Those boxes are box of information Mr. Bankowitz talked about.
No worries.
I had to go through those. I gave all that material to Ms. Cashman, plus my information on top of that. Spent a lot of time interviewing people about how they...
So thus far, Bankowitz is asking for $14,000 as the flat fee of $75 an hour for, I believe, 175 hours. Look, I don't math. That's why I work in law adjacent stuff. So we are now at 14,000. That's not also including the fact that JCA, they approved at least on average up to $1,000 for every single expert that Sarah wants to use. So we are so beyond wasting taxpayers' money. I can't even. I mean, again, if Sarah Boone doesn't make me a personalized license plate when she gets to prison, actual prison, I am going to be so upset, because how do we recoup these losses, you guys? I mean, I'm sure that the citizens of Florida are really excited that they get to spend almost over a gajillion K. I swear to goodness. I'm making up numbers now. I'm not a mather.
and they were jurors.
And thank
I
you
was
so
looking
much.
at the case from all angles. I had the case from, I believe, September
I definitely
23,
am.
until May 24. I would say conservatively, any lawyer that had this case can tell you easily they spend at least an hour to 2 hours on this case every single day. Given the information coming in from Ms. Boone, the matter she wanted dealt with, her theory on the law versus our theory on it was a constant battle going back and forth.
This man, I was like, look, I try to bring crayons in. I try to bring, law for dummies. Sarah just doesn't understand that her interpretation of the law is not the one that we go with anywhere outside of the circus music she hears in her head. This man, I think Sarah, killed the soul of this man. And Swifty, I have no idea. Between the JAC guy sounding like Charlie Brown's teacher and this man sounding like he's in LaGuardia, I can only imagine what is going on. Yeah, but what would her gift be? Inducing men to hide in suitcases to get away from her? I mean, usually a superpower would be helpful. Well, you know what? She can run off most men. It's the weird ones that stick.
Fourth, you had to deal with the gaslighting. I told Judge Kranick at the time that I withdrew that it just was too much. This case required at least 2 lawyers. I told that to Judge Kranick, plus possibly an assistant. I see now the case has 3 lawyers.
Sarah, gaslighting, she's a peach. Have you not heard her? She was on honor roll in the 6th grade. She won the spelling bee in 3rd grade. She totally told the truth when she cut down her father's cherry tree. When she gave the Gettysburg Address, she was very awesome at it. I mean, at what, Sarah?
Plus experts that we work at getting, plus investigators. So everything they're doing now, we attempted to do. We made every effort to do all those things. Miss Boone now has custody of files belonging to myself, Ms. Cash.
That made my day publicly buzzed. I swear to goodness, Monday was the Mondayest Monday that has ever Mondayed. And, I was getting ready to just give up, but then I saw Sarah Boone on Nicktoons, and I was like, oh, dear God. My prayers have been answered. 2024, you continue to be awesome. Oh, my. It really does. Oh no, dang it. Not that song. Please, dear Lord, not that song. That song gets stuck in my head, and then I'm going to have Sarah's name in my head, which is torture.
Bankowitz, they did just put in a tremendous amount of work. It taxed every fiber in your body and the bodies of the assistants or any person that worked with you on this matter, and I think flat fee for each of the attorney would be exceedingly reasonable, Judge. And I heard the judge comments regarding $75 an hour. I won't even speak to that. It would be totally redundant given the expert knowledge of all the attorneys and Your Honor involved in this case and any
Oh
other case
no.
we come to the court on regarding fees. But this was a extremely difficult case, Judge. Most of the difficulty revolved around.
This was a difficult case, stud. Blessed be the closed captions. From them all hilarity flows. Welcome to the Church of Mo. It just happens that we love closed captions here and the shenanigans they provide. Extremely difficult case, stud. Most of the difficulty revolved around, P. Diddy. and 1,000 bottles of lube. And that joke will never not be funny. I am so sorry, but I will be making P. Diddy jokes until I am 94. I will be joking. I will be picking up bottles of baby oil and throwing them in the cart and telling Mr. Mo that we're having a P. Diddy party. Like, it's just never not going to be funny. I am sorry. The man had 1,000 bottles of lube. It's just never not going to be funny in Mo's book.
I'm just handling the defendant and coordinating the defendant thoughts on how things should go with what our experts were telling us and our investigators were telling us. So I believe the flat fee for each attorney would be anything less than a flat fee would be totally confiscatory, Judge. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Ms. Cashman.
Your Honor, I'm asking for the $15,000 flat fee, and I'm also asking to be reimbursed for the $1,800 that I paid to an expert in case.
You know what? Not all heroes wear capes. That is awesome. I'm stealing this, and if I ever get invited to a bridal shower, I'm totally doing it. And I'm signing it from Diddy.
Casey has a copy of my check front and back on this case. One of the issues that always has to be addressed when there are multiple attorneys, and I was the 8th attorney and the 4th private court-appointed attorney, is making a case that is old by purposes, for reasons of being on the docket for a long time.
So I believe the closed captions were wrong. She said 1,500. So my guess is that the closed captions being, well, the closed captions, it did say 115,000 on the closed captions, but she said 15,000. And I think a lot of what is costing so much is that every single lawyer will have their own way of doing things. So even if, the previous lawyer, got all of the paperwork done and to their specifications, the new lawyer is still going to have to pull all that out, become familiar with all the pieces of the case, and they may have a different way of filing or organizing. So I feel like we, the people, should get paid $10 each for having to watch Sarah.
A priority and putting aside other work. One of the unusual things about Ms. Boone's case was when I did withdraw for ethical reasons, the court found that she had forfeited her right to an attorney. She is charged by information with second-degree murder. There was an unusual amount of media attention on this case. The facts are she's accused of putting her boyfriend in a suitcase. He later dies. There is
if you just step back and say you're a new person just watching court TV hearings for no reason, and you hear that she put her boyfriend in a suitcase, I believe they send in invoices and show the work they've done. Obviously, I'm sure that the state of Florida has a way of checking and making sure lawyers are doing their, lawful duty in working. Yeah, and I really do. I am very interested to hear how the defense is going to use suitcasing as both a self-defense method and an accident. She does get very upset that people are reading like her prisoner notes. I have read her prison notes. She's very manipulative. She's very she wants to be in control. So all of those like good behavior things, again, Florida jail. Give her an emotional support empty Lysol canister. Yeah. Well, that is oh wait, the lawyer. Um I believe that Sarah Boone made a really flippant comment to her when she first started representing her. So Miss Cashman kind of went to see her, kind of tried to introduce herself, and Sarah asked her flippantly, like, if you look on the YouTube and the Google, you can see all the things people say about me. Again, that would be again the biggest problem I have with Sarah Boone is that she is more upset with people like me making fun of her on the internet than she has ever expressed for, the loss of George. She has never ever made an effort to show a tear or a single, sad moment beyond, oh, well, I can't get his engagement ring back. I bought it. First of all, you're a weirdo. Second of all, no. She, I don't think I've seen her cry one single tear, and it bothers the snot out of me.
There's a video of this that went viral. Because the video went viral, because of coverage by Court TV, News Nation, Fox, the local channels, the Sentinel, and websites such as Know Your Lawyer, Legal Bites, and Bruce Rivers, you had to review not just the banker boxes of discovery and work done by the previous attorneys, but stay up to date with what potential jurors were viewing if they were watching it on the internet. There was a lot of...
She was very regretful. She did send me a Post-it note, but she meant to say Mo in the deep end too. She was like, forget legal bites. We were talking about Mo in the deep end.
of correspondence between the defendant and the court. Obviously, I had to review all that. The most recent piece of correspondence when I was Ms. Boone's counsel was the 58-page letter that she wrote. And again, all these letters are published, they're analyzed. I, like previous counsel, spent an inordinate amount of time with Ms. Boone. I spent over 20 hours during my period of time that I was representing her.
Oh, sweet baby Jesus, 20 hours with Sarah Boone. We should allow her to just drink water or wine right out of the bottle. Yikes.
I believe that for multiple reasons, the court can find that this case was extraordinary and unusual, and that it would be confiscatory to not pay me the flat fee. And having provided the requested proof based on the procedure for reimbursable costs, it's my understanding that Mr. Lake is not objecting to me being reimbursed for the $1,800 that I spent to retain an expert who did not have a contract with JAC.
Thank you. Mr. Lake.
Yes, Your Honor, just briefly. As far as the issue of the $1,800, JC has no objection to that reimbursement. That's more of a technicality. The court did approve the expert. This is just the attorney getting reimbursed for expense that we have no objection to. So that's a non-issue. But you see that in the order. As far as the fees are concerned, the issue here is that other than Ms. Cashman, who submitted an hourly statement of 118 hours, none of the other attorneys actually submitted hourly statements, so we are kind of constrained by the statute. The problem is the statute only allows up to 200% of the flat fee in the absence of hourly statements. In other words, the way that the statute is worded very unusually, but essentially what it says is the court can award up to 200% of the flat fee without, and then it can only go above that if it finds that the case is confiscatory, and then can compensate the attorneys at a rate of $75 an hour. So that
would be great.
Into a little bit of a difficulty here because double the flat fee here would be 30.
Don't forget a Dr. Pepper and smokes, but always have them further away from you so you can ask someone else if you can get them.
$15,000, which is less than each of attorneys is requesting $15,000 each, which would be $45,000. As far as, and at that point, looking at the statute, what we have is Ms. Cashman, she got 118 hours in. That would represent at a rate of $75 an hour, $8,850. Based on Mr. Bankowitz's statement, he has 175 hours in, which would be $13,125 at that rate. And Mr. Hobson, he just basically said about 200 hours, which would be 15,000. That's the issue, Your Honor, is that, I mean, technically compensation has to be at a rate of $75 an hour for it to go above 30,000. And so beyond that, I mean, ultimately, but we leave it to court discretion to determine reasonable fee for each attorney. And we acknowledge that this, I don't think we can even begin to dispute that this is not an extraordinary unusual case. It's just that what the statute says is how the compensation structure is set up. And we have to argue that the court needs to follow that structure.
Mr. Lake, if one bills hourly, can the others be flat fee under your interpretation of the statute?
That, until you get to double the flat fee, yes, that works. But once you go above double the flat fee, then at that point, it really should be compensation should be $75 an hour. However, we also acknowledge that we have had other cases like this where the court has awarded the full flat fee to each attorney, and we've never taken it up. So I mean, it's essentially we have to argue that you can only go to 200% of the flat fee, and at that point it has to go hourly. But we also acknowledge that realistically, there is no attorney on the case, other than somebody who might take the case pro bono for other reasons. There's no attorney on the surface of this planet that would take this case for $15,000.
I love this guy. I mean, yes, you sound like Charlie Brown's teacher, but he's like, look, not one attorney who isn't functionally unwell would take this case for $15,000. That was a burn for Mr. Owens, who sounds disturbingly more bitchy than Sarah Boone. I don't know how I am going to, no, it would be great. Only you have to pull it out of your bra. That's the only way you can do this if you're going to be Sarah. But I love that subtle burn on Mr. Owens. Again, Sarah Boone's trial is going to be incredibly difficult for me because Mr. Owens has the sort of tonal quality of a very, very emo 14-year-old girl who's whining about not getting something from Hot Topic. But, you know, her mom's already said no, and he wants to continue to litigate, you know, this thing like, but you said I could go to Hot Topic. I said you could go to Hot Topic. You couldn't buy anything. Mr. Mo is too tall, so we don't have a giant enough suitcase, and I don't have the energy.
Your Honor, if I may address.
I don't
the
need
court.
I don't need to do that, Mr. Hobson. Thank you.
Yes.
I am going to award the $15,000 flat fee to Mr. Bankwitz and Ms. Cashman and a $15,000 hourly fee to Mr. Hobson. Ms. Cashman will be reimbursed her $1,800 in costs. I will issue an order to that if on each of these cases. You've sent me orders electronically, and I will e-sign them. I've got it here, and e-file them in just a moment. Mr. Lake, do you have any questions?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Anything further with regard?
Do they even get like a Panera gift card or like a Trader Joe's? Here's a gift certificate for $3 Chuck. I mean, honestly, I feel like the state of Florida should send them to a spa or something.
Regard to this matter.
No, Your Honor, I would just state that I'm not asking for this cost, but I paid over $400 in photocopy fees costs for material that I sent to Ms. Boone along the way. But I'm not asking for that to be
Holy
refunded to me.
Fasoli.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Hobson.
Thank
All
you,
right,
Your Honor.
thank you. And we have one last hearing.
Okay,
just enter
so
these orders.
that is the hearing for Sarah Boone. And then I also have something that Jedi Jess just found for us. So Sarah Boone's defense has been busy, and they have a motion to suppress the. Okay, well, no, that's not what I wanted to do. I am being like the judge right now. This is awesome. We're kindred spirits, technically challenged. Right, take that off. Present, share screen. Yes, I talk to myself to remember what I'm doing because I am naturally blonde and I get sidetracked by glitter. So this is a motion to suppress that the defense attorneys for Sarah Boone decided to put. And this is a motion to suppress the confession or the interrogation. So motion to suppress defendant's statements at OCSO. Comes now the defendant by and through undersigned attorney who sounds like a 14-year-old girl, pursuant to Rule 3.190, subsection H, Florida Rules of Criminal Procedure, the Fifth and Sixth Amendments of the United States Constitution, and Article 1, Section 9 of the Florida Constitution, and respectfully moves the court to suppress all statements made by the defendant during her interrogation at the Orange County Sheriff's Office, and in support thereof states the following. 1. Defendant Sarah Boone is charged by way of the information in a single count of second-degree suitcasing. Number 2, on or about February 24th, 2020, the defendant called 911 in response to finding her boyfriend, George Torres, deceased. Yeah, but where did she find him? Lawyer guy. Number 3, Deputy Kayla Rodriguez of the Orange County Sheriff's Office arrived on scene with her body cam activated. Deputy Rodriguez spoke to the defendant and realized a death had occurred. Deputy Rodriguez advised her superiors and secured the scene. She also was on guard to keep that, Dr. Pepper secure. There were never any better moments than when she told her she couldn't have a Dr. Pepper. I swear I felt like the world needed Sarah Boone to be told no. Number 4, sometime later, homicide investigators Chelsea Conley, aka Chelsea Counsel, and Scott Lowen arrived. I like how they used aka. Oh, she got married or divorced. Who cares? These 2 investigators would ultimately be responsible for this homicide investigation and were involved in the interrogation of the defendant at OCSO the next day. 5, the defendant was ordered to remain on scene while OCSO conducted their investigation. The defendant stayed outside of her apartment for approximately 14 hours during this time. Look, because Brian didn't want you back in his house, ma'am. Look, Brian, Sarah Boone's ex, I need you to look deeply into my eyes. Once this woman gets convicted, change your name, change your hair color, shave your head, grow a mustache, but get the hell out of Florida and take your son with you, and then never answer any calls from unknown numbers. I would suggest Guam. If I'm honest. If you can go, I would go to Guam. Number 6, at some point, the defendant asked to get into a vehicle with Detective Counsel and Detective Lowen. Once inside, Detective Counsel recorded an interrogation with the defendant after partially reading her Miranda rights, omitting the final question. Guam is my go-to place to. It's not Australia. It's kind of like that, what's that children's book? Terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. And the kid's like, I'm moving to Australia. Guam has always been my Australia. I don't know why. I really do hope her son is Brian, for all of his timidity and allowing Sarah to walk all over him. He does seem like a good father. He was, aware enough to realize that Sarah's constant drinking and bringing random people home was a dangerous situation. So hopefully he is providing the best support that his son needs. And he seemed like a very sensitive and intuitive person from kind of just the little bit that I got on the body cam footage. All right, let's see here. The defendant was advised this recorded interrogation was routine protocol and an official procedure for any death investigation. Thank you, Unhung Hero, for $2. And didn't Guam tip over if you move there? That is also another thing that will never not be funny. There is a sitting U.S. senator that did ask in an open hearing for the military. I believe he was from Georgia, to be honest, if Guam would tip over if they put more soldiers on it, because it is an island, and he was afraid that Guam would tip. These are our elected officials, you guys. And, yeah, he is, but, you can always change your patterns of behavior. Enablers can learn to say no and, really change, just like, people that have battled with addiction can change if they want to. Let's see here. An official procedure for any death investigation. 7. During the investigation, Detective Counsel asked to see the defendant's phone. The defendant complied and gave her phone to the detective. The detective was asked to unlock her phone, or the defendant, I'm sorry, was asked to unlock her phone. She complied with the demands of the lead investigator. Let's see. 8. After Detective Counsel had the defendant's phone for a period of time, she came back and told the defendant she was taking the phone. Detective Counsel asked the defendant to sign a form releasing it to OCSO for further investigation, and the defendant acquiesced to authority and signed the form. The defendant gave her phone because she totally forgot that she had recorded herself unaliving someone, and she was hoping to show her evidence of Jorge being a terrible butthole. They were mutually combative. It was an Amber Heard and Johnny Depp situation. I mean, these two people were terrible to each other when they drank. This does not make a battered woman, defense. Number 9, the defendant was told that one of the detectives would return her phone to the defendant at her apartment in Winter Park the following afternoon. 10, later that evening, the defendant moved to her ex-husband's home, Brian Boone, for the night. Using her ex-husband's phone, the defendant called the lead detective, Chelsea Counsel, to express her concern that Detective Counsel wasn't being truthful about law enforcement motives as it related to the defendant. The defendant told the detectives she believed they were trying to trick her. And yet you still went in for an interview. You're like, I think there's something suspicious afoot, but I'll still go in, your officerness. Again, this is the entire thing that kills me about sovereign citizens. If you do not, acquiesce to the authority of the court, why even go? Like, the biggest badass thing you could do as a sovereign citizen would just be not show up because you don't recognize the authority of the court. But I am not a lawful law scholar. Do not take any advice I say. I am a deeply silly person. This is not a good idea. Don't get any life advice off the internet, especially from me. Let's see. 11. The detective assured the defendant that they were not trying to trick or implicate her, but the following day the defendant needed to drive to Orange County Sheriff's Office to retrieve her phone. The detective explained that the reason for the change in plans was because she was pregnant and not feeling well. It is strange to me that baby of the detectives is now almost 3 or 4 years old. It really is absolutely amazing to me that this much time has passed. Number 12, the next day, February 25th, 2020, the defendant arrived at OCSO to retrieve her phone and had questions about this tragic event. Yeah, she had questions about if she was going to get her ring back and if she was going to get the laptop back. Nothing about Jorge, just her stuff. What a dingus. 13, while still under the impression she was retrieving her phone, Detective Lowen led the defendant upstairs to an interrogation room. A custodial interrogation ensued. Immediately after the interrogation, the defendant was arrested and charged with the offense above. 14, this is approximately 2 hours of interrogation that was recorded. 15, the initial dialogue between Detective Counsel and the defendant, Sarah Boone. Detective, I'm going to have you sit in the green chair. Detective, appreciate you coming in. Sarah Boone. Yes, ma'am. I wanted to talk to you about these whenever you have a moment. And she's just like, sure, the detective said. Detective, so obviously he received his autopsy. The detective, so I'm going to read you your rights again as we have to talk about that. And we're not done talking about the incident. We just have to do it. Just like we did yesterday? Normal protocol? Detective, just like we did yesterday. Remember I read you your rights? Detective, yeah, it's the exact same thing, but since I'm asking you follow-up questions, I need to read them to you, okay? So you have the right to remain silent. She has the right, just not the ability. You have a right to talk to a lawyer before and during questioning without charge. If you cannot afford a lawyer and want one can be provided to you before questioning without charge. Has anyone threatened you or promised you with anything to get you to talk to me? Sarah Boone. No. Detective, and do you understand what I just read to you? Yes. I excel at everything I do. I am Copus Mentis, and I am an honorable student. Detective. Perfect. Okay. So this morning we went to his autopsy and we were informed of some injuries he had by the doctor. Where? I didn't lay hands on him, like a Louisville Slugger maybe and gravity when I jumped him down the stairs. So he has scratches on his back. And then she admitted the most horrifying thing was that those were from Smexy time, allegedly. Ooh. Look, I have done a lot of bad things in my life, but not bad enough to imagine Sarah Boone naked. And I have a very, unfortunately, overactive imagination. And if you guys remember Isma from The Emperor's New Groove, I can only imagine that's what she looks like, okay? And now you guys are suffering with me. 16. The interrogation continued for approximately 2 hours. At the end, while still in the interrogation room, the defendant was placed in handcuffs and arrested. I know it was my favorite part of the interrogation. If you guys want to watch the Sarah Boone interrogation, but want to watch it with friends who are snarky, Veilhammer and I did legal shenanigans theater for Sarah Boone. And yes, I am super duper petty, and it is glorious. I love that show, but I also like David Spade. So 17, the detective read the defendant her Miranda rights directly from a printed card of the OCSO. The detective omitted the final question printed on standardized Miranda card of Orange County Sheriff's Office. 18, the detective omitted the same Miranda rights question that she omitted the day before. 19, the omitted final Miranda rights question is, having these rights in mind, do you wish to talk with us now? 20, the defense has yet to receive a true and accurate copy of the Miranda rights card from the Orange County Sheriff's Office. 21, upon information and belief, it would look something like this. Okay, this is a facsimile. You do not have the actual card. You cannot put this on your thing, as far as I'm aware. Number 22, based on all circumstances surrounding this interrogation, the defendant's statement was coerced. In what world? show me the bamboo strips that were put under her nails. Show me, the waterboarding she did. Or, did someone make her watch The Acolyte? I mean, she was not coerced. Give me a break. Let's see here. And the defendant did not freely and knowingly waive her rights under Miranda. 23. As such, the entire 2-hour interrogation should be suppressed. Good luck, Jan. Good luck with this one. Wherefore, the defendant requests that pursuant to Rule 3.190, subsection H, Florida Rules of Criminal Procedure, and the Fifth and Sixth Amendments of the United States Constitution, and in Article 1, Section 9 of the Florida Constitution, respectfully moves the court to suppress the oral statements made by the defendant during her interrogation at Orange County Sheriff's Office on February 25th, 2020. I don't think this is going to work. Now, from what Jedi Jess was saying, she was pointing out that there were no legal arguments, no sort of state cases that he was basically comparing this to, as to get case law stating, yes, they missed a line in this case and a judge threw it out. So he has no, legal cases that he's citing where this might have been a problem in another case. So from what I'm understanding as not a lawyer, he doesn't cite any case law other than the amendments, not even Miranda versus Arizona, which would be the case that you would want to cite, for a Miranda rights violation. Maybe Mike could possibly. So it really is quite interesting. Now, Jedi Jess, let's see if I can open this. Basically, Sarah continued to talk, regardless of if they forgot to say, are you willing to talk to me now? Sarah continued to talk. She forfeited her right to remain silent. Not that she has the ability to remain silent, but she forfeited it. Again, had she clammed up and said, no, I would like to speak to an attorney, then the detectives kept on badgering her, I could see that would be a point to suppress. But I don't see the judge following along with this. I don't see the state letting this one go. Yeah, I will say Owens is probably going to be the reason I will need a swear jar for this case. I don't know how I'm going to get through their case in chief without having an entire swear jar just full to the gills. I might be able to pay for my own cruise at the end of this trial. I'm just going to charge myself. Although I will tell you, by the power vested in me by adopting half the internet and being Sailor Mo, I am giving everyone 4 curses free every day that we have to watch the Sarah Boone trial, because I believe trying to go in curseless is entrapment. So we are all allowed 4, but make it a good one. Now, if you do a double up, like, MFer or, linked with other ones, look, we're trying to be right with the Lord. Have you seen what is going on now? We are closer to the rapture than anything. And I swear to God, Holy Lord, I am not a good enough Christian to escape the rapture. No, I'm thinking like if you go MFer, stupid B, yeah, okay, those are fine. Those are not curse words. I'm talking about if you do like a whole string. Now, as long as you don't have to take another breath, I will count that as a 1. But you have to get it all out in one breath. So if you can say superfragifuckalicious you are allowed to say that all in one sentence, and it's only 1. But if you have to take a breath in between, I'm afraid that counts as 2. I'll have to do a swear jar joke or something while we're watching this, because I swear to goodness, this lawyer is terrible, and he is so annoying. Oh Lord, of course they are. Well, you guys, that is what we have for Sarah Boone. I will be back in the morning with Mornings with Mo at 8 a.m. We will do all of the crazy and absurd news. And I know it's crazy, but 2024 is keeping up on this sparkling, absurd diamond thing that it's got going on, and it continues to shine on. So if you like news that's not super political, not super terrible, we do cover law and crime cases and, other things that are going on, but I do try to sprinkle in the weirdness that can only be brought to us by the internet. So it's, you get some news, you get some laughs, and well, yesterday we got to learn that certain octopus species get other fish to hunt with them, but when the other fish like get kind of sidetracked like squirrel, apparently the octopuses punch them. They punch the fish to get them back in line. I'm like, wait, we have abusive octopus hunting gangs? What is going on here? But there you go. I mean, you learn all sorts of new things on Mornings with Mo. And then I believe we will be continuing with the Wade Wilson interrogation and possibly the girlfriend's interrogation. He is such a douche. Why do women sleep with this man? Why do women continue to want to sleep with this man? I am sending out an invitation. If you have slept with or want to sleep with Wade Wilson and not Ryan Reynolds Wade Wilson, please explain yourself to me. I am inviting you on Mornings with Mo. I am inviting you onto this channel to really have a heart-to-heart conversation as to why you think Wade Wilson is attractive and you would willingly sleep with him. This is an open invitation for any one of these women who is calling him and filling out his commissary. Because I am all the confused. Any hoozle, you guys, I am going to go make sure that the youngest, most feral is not playing on his iPad. He is on lockdown right now because only my son would try to huff Pam. Literally, you guys, I can't anymore. He saw something on YouTube and he's like, yeah, these YouTubers, sniff all these canned things. So he's lost his pad for forever, and I have to go buy more Pam cooking spray. It's never a dull moment around here. So we talked to him about how terrible that is, how horribly unhealthy that is, and that he's never having YouTube again. I hope he enjoys being Mennonite, because I don't think we can do Amish, but I was just like, what the hell are you doing with my Pam? And he's like, YouTubers told me to sniff it. And I'm like, Jesus, take the wheel. I need to be let out of this house right now. I am not getting him hooked on lube. No. So there you go. He is locked away from YouTube. He has lost his pad for forever, and now I am a warden when he comes home. Because, never a dull moment. I'm just like, why? Dear Lord, I try to be a good parent, and this one is gonna make me gray. It's always a good reminder to make sure we have the parental controls on things. We have, the limiters on things, and still they can watch really crazy, ridiculous things. So always check your kids and what they're watching on YouTube, because apparently I get to buy more Pam, and that's special. Of all the things that youngest, most feral could do, I should have seen this coming. Anywho, we got this. It'll be a funny story to tell his wife one day after I've lied to her and told her that he was an amazingly well-behaved boy, so I can get grandchildren. Oh my goodness, baby squid. These children are better at technology than we are. So, after I've lied to my daughter-in-law and I've told her that my son was a beautiful little angel baby so I can get grandchildren, then I'll have to confess all the things that he did. And I'll bring out a book the size of Sarah's notepads. And I'll be like, look, here's a 157-page letter of what he did. I'm sorry I lied to you, but I have a grandchild now. So there you are. Mo's evil plan in a nutshell. I will see you guys in the morning. Have a wonderful evening. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to others. We've got this, you guys. It's almost Halloween month. We can make it. I will see you guys in the morning. Bye, guys.